بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. Praise be to Allah. We seek His help and forgiveness. Whom Allah guides will be guided, and whom Allah misguides will be never guided. We bear witness that there is no prophet, and there is a prophet, the last prophet, the seal of prophets, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm very honored to be with you today to talk about a critical review of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and bringing to you a proposed model for human needs, but based on our Islamic culture. So maybe at the beginning we have to say that we were created, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created in us specific needs. And in order to have a better and happier life, we have to know exactly what our needs. Now, human beings, including scholars, researchers, all over the world, they have come up with their own systems and categorization of needs. But they have not created themselves. Their minds cannot tell exactly what are these needs. I want just to pose a question to you. Can the human intellect reach the whole truth? No. We might get part of the truth, but not the whole of the truth. So in certain areas, if we pondered and conducted research and investigated phenomena, we can arrive at part of the truth, but not the complete perfect of the truth. So it is very important first to arrive at, to know, to understand what are the real needs of human beings, regardless their religion, regardless their culture. And the only one who can tell what are the real needs of human beings is the one who created them. If I am the creator of this lab, computer, then I have the right to write the manual, how to use it. By the same token, since Allah is the creator of all human beings and all creatures, then He is the only one who is entitled to give us the guidance, and which is already given, the guidance by Quran and Sunnah anyway. So if we want to know the needs, the broad areas of the needs, you will find it in the Quran and Sunnah. But the specific needs, we need to go to study the context we are in. Because Islam gives us only broad guidelines for our life. But we have to use our minds and heart to do research and conduct research to know more details. Because what is suitable, I just ask you, 50 years ago, was there any need to study internet? No, but now it is very basic, because of change of time. The same thing, maybe the needs of people in one country, for instance, Some countries, they produce more wheat than others. Now with the war between Russia and Ukraine, we have a problem of wheat transportation. So we realize that some countries are in need of wheat. They don't produce it. So again, every country in every location or geographical location, they can decide about the details of their own needs. According to time, according to place, according to context. So we have to give the guidance from the sources of knowledge, Quran, Sunnah, but at the same time, we have to use our minds to conduct research. So if we want to develop our societies, we have to know and explore the needs of human beings in order to develop and fulfill the needs. That's what happened to other researchers when they start thinking about what are the needs in order to have a better life, a happier life, a successful life. Also, developing a system of needs tell us what are the priorities. Priorities. So government, organizations, societies, families, individuals will try to fulfill first the most important needs, the most critical needs. For instance, we need water, we need shelter, we need food, we need to be secure and safe. So that's very basic. So everybody, whether a family or individual or society or organization, they have to take care of these needs. Now, if every researcher decided what are the needs, we might differ. But when we start from Quran Sunnah, we have a more objective knowledge, a better view, because it is Allah's understanding and knowledge. Now, what I have done myself, of course, we studied. Those who are studying education or psychology or management, they will study Maslow, hierarchy of needs. All of them, they will study it. In fact, we studied at the undergraduate degree. And also it was devised or developed in the 50s of the last century, yet still very common. Even himself, I mean, to show that there is a problem, even himself, Maslow, developed it within 10 years or 20 years. He changed the categories. But we as Muslims have adopted it as they are. And we have taken it for granted, as if it is a revelation from Allah, not from an American scholar. It was criticized by Western researchers. If you go to Google, see what are the criticism, what are the critique of Maslow, you will find a lot. You'll find a lot. But when we teach it, we don't criticize it. We take it for granted. So we have to know what is the nature of human beings. Who is insan? The concept of insan. In order to understand the human needs, we have to know the concept of insan. What are the characteristics of insan as he or she was created? Then we will be able to decide. Maybe in another visit, we can talk about the concept of insan from an Islamic point of view. Now, this common theory of Maslow hierarchy of needs 70 years ago, he started in 1943. He developed in 1954 in a book called Motivation and Personality, and still popular until today. I think, to me, for two reasons. One, inferiority complex. We look at ourselves down. We are not confident that what we have is an authentic knowledge. Authentic knowledge. If you are proud of the authentic knowledge that it is true and objective from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you cannot survive. You just follow. You just like goat. You follow them. We have to think and take whatever is good and acceptable and logical and leave the rubbish one, which we think is not objective, it's biased. So let me just look at what Maslow has said. These are his categories, biological and physiological. So it is a materialistic. We're talking about material side. Air, food, drink, sleep, that's the basic one, he said. And he said, it goes according to a hierarchy. So you have to fulfill the biological before you go to the safety. And you have to fulfill the safety needs before you go to the love and belongings. And so on. So it is going hierarchical. So second, safety, protection from harm, security, order, law, stability, freedom from fear. So that's safety. Which I don't think there is any problem in that. Then love and belongings. He has given the emotional side here, friendship, intimacy, affection, and love. Whether from her or his partner, because they don't mind getting married or not, okay? Or for family and social groups. Then esteem. Now talking about the person. He never talked about society. That's the capitalist society. Capitalism tried to promote individualism. We focus on balancing the life of the individual with collective life. Esteem, achievement, mastery, prestige, self-respect, respecting from others. So he's looking for how people appreciate him. We need people to respect us, but the most important is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to get the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have further needs. They don't look at it. Then self-actualization, realization of personal potential, self-fulfillment. So now again, looking at self. Looking at self. He's not looking for Allah's pleasure and mercy and forgiveness in the hereafter. He didn't believe in hereafter. Why we're teaching, at least we can teach it as a history. And we criticize it and bring an alternative, another option. Why we have to let ourselves down academically? Later, because he's a human being anyway, Maslow, he added 3 other needs. But we don't teach them in the university. Number 1, cognitive needs. Additional one. He forgot about it before. Because he's a human being anyway. cognitive needs, knowledge and meaning. Meaning of life. Well, who will give you the meaning of life? To us, Allah. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. We have created jinn and this, but to worship. That's the meaning of life. To construct, i'mar. To take the amana, trust. Then he said, aesthetic needs, appreciation and search for beauty and balance. Now he has no classification of priorities of needs. Only he put them in a hierarchy, and that's it. And transcendence needs helping others to achieve self-actualization. You help others to become self. You have to develop your own self. So every need is focusing on the person. What is sacrifice for others? For the sake of Allah? Not that. What is the belief in Allah which motivates you to do things for other people? Not that. We have the mind, we have the soul, we have the body. So we need, there are needs here, here, here. But he's talking about the person and the material side. And individual, personal gains. You know what he has done? In the last one, the self-actualization, he studied some of the well-known artists, scientists, Nobel Prize winners, political figures. He said, those people, they have achieved their own self-actualization, but we cannot reach that. So, but they are our own model. Well, to us, our own model, the Prophet Muhammad is not a president of America or a Nobel Prize winner or somebody. No. But that's what he started with, to investigate and to decide about the needs. And that's what he said. This is the lower part called deficiency needs and then growth needs, but for the person. Because the old and the new. So what I have done, I investigated some of the revelation from Quran, Sunnah, and Islamic thinkers, plus what they have talked about Maslow, particularly Maslow. Now let us just look what are the shortcomings or problems of Maslow before we propose the new one. Okay? Let us evaluate it. And when I say evaluate it, I will evaluate it from the Western scholars' perspective and from the Islamic perspective. Some of the shortcomings presented by, you can read it yourself, search it. Maybe you can present one of the assignments, critique of Maslow, to your own lecturer. Okay? First, it lacks conclusive empirical evidence. He has studied those individuals, as I said, and come up with his own theory. No implementation or experimental evidence to support his claim. And this is not my words. It is the scholars of the West words. Needs are organized in a hierarchy, addressing in an order from basic to complex. I'll just give you an example. To us, the highest need is to seek the pleasure of Allah and to help you to admit to paradise and to save you from hellfire. Okay? Now, he said you cannot move to upper level, even self-actualization, unless you fulfill the basic needs. I'll ask you, what have done the Prophet in the trench battle? You know the trench battle? Ghazwat al-Ahzab? They were very hungry. Yet, they were working really hard, highly motivated to work. What is the basic need? They said, you cannot go to self-actualization unless you fill in your stomach. They didn't fill their own stomach. They were very hungry, yet they were very motivated to fulfill a higher need, which is the pleasure of Allah. What is the rubbish? Maslow is rubbish. The way he ordered it is not true. So you can jump to a higher one without fulfilling the previous one. And the life of the Prophet, the life of the companions of Rasulullah ﷺ show us very clearly that it cannot be explained by Maslow. In Islam, it is not hierarchical. It is integrated and interactive. It's not hierarchical. It is integrated and interactive. So we can see, because if you study the theory of motivation of Maslow, he linked needs with motivation, which is true, okay? It is, you are highly motivated to fulfill a need, but what is this need? We differ from it. The priorities of needs in our case is different. So we are highly motivated, for instance, to help the student. Now, I'm offering my lecture. I'm highly motivated to serve you, not because you are going to give me anything. I'm looking for Allah's reward not from you. So how Maslow can explain this act? He cannot, because he didn't believe in the unseen, al-ghayb. He is a very secular atheist. So he doesn't believe in spiritual needs at all. Why we are keeping the exact timing of prayer, fasting, Hajj, and everything, which motivate us, cannot be explained by materialistic, personal, individualistic aspiration of human beings.
Maslow is atheist or Jewish origin?
Sorry?
Maslow, is he originally Jewish or he's atheist?
Yes, yes, yes. But even if he's not Jewish, to me, he's an atheist. He's a secular and an atheist. You know, I want to criticize his own ideas. So, as the Western literature said, you cannot generalize. If he wants to apply it in America, may Allah help them to fulfill the needs of Maslow over there. But the Western scholar, they say, you cannot generalize this to Asian persons. I'm not talking about Muslim now, Asian culture. Why? Because they say that the Western scientists and scholars and researchers say, they say the Asians focus on collectivism, on the group. So you are more attached to the family, to your tribe, not to the individual, like when they are competing over there. Do you know, in America, 1% of people in America own 50% of the wealth in America? 1% owns 50% of the wealth. In fact, most of the wealth owned by 10 companies, 10 families, 10 people. How can you fulfill the needs? That's the way they are thinking. We're looking at social welfare, justice. We have a different culture. We have a different way of looking at things. We have different meaning of life. So you cannot generalize. If you want to do it there, go ahead with it. It's up to you to decide. But we have our own categorization. We have a different way of looking at our life. And again, it is not holistic. So they are not talking about, for instance, the soul is not there. Soul is not there. He is singling the materialistic side of life. So it's not holistic. And it is limited to this life, not the hereafter. It is restricted to the material. Forget about the spiritual. And how many people you know, they are very poor, but they are very satisfied with life and they are happy. Although the basic needs was not fulfilled. Whereas some people, they have great money, they have done everything, yet they are unhappy. So you cannot predict. We cannot explain our life as Muslim within this framework. So one of the basic principles that our thinking, our knowledge, our production of research is based on our culture and philosophy. Now, all of us here, we can decide what we want based on our conceptualization of things. That's why in Usul al-Fiqh, they said our behavior comes from our perception. So the way السلوك فرع عن التصور. Our behavior is part of our conceptualization. The way we perceive things affect our behavior. So Maslow behavior, which is a hierarchy of needs, based on his conceptualization of life and things. Do you think his conceptualization, who is atheist and secular and materialistic, is the same as ours? So, as a result, his way of thinking will be different. His production of knowledge will be different. So, I call upon you all, the new generation of our future, to decide what you want according to your philosophy, according to your ideology, according to Quran and Sunnah. Now, as I said, their culture is different, philosophy is different, context is different. And they want to generalize the American way of life to us. Why? And we accepted it and teach it at our universities willingly, without any even comments. And we argue for it. The Western people are criticizing it. We are not criticizing it. Why? I don't know. It is a lack of knowledge, true knowledge, true knowledge. They have the concept of human being is different. The concept of insan is different. The concept of life different. The concept of knowledge different. What we mean by life, dunya and akhirah. They don't believe in it. Knowledge, we say there are two types of knowledge. One is the authentic knowledge, objective knowledge, revelation. Second, what we do, conduct research and investigation. So that's two sources of knowledge. They believe in only one source. What produced by the mind about investigating phenomena, whether natural or social phenomena. We have a better understanding to the nature of human beings and social sciences because we can get the support from Quran Sunnah. Do you know that? We have 6,600 something verses in the Quran. You know that number. Now, 1,000 make reference to natural sciences. The rest make reference to social sciences. Why? Because Allah knows that our mind, when we do research, we might go astray if we just depend on our mind. So He gave us more verses in the Quran to guide us to the right way of doing research in the social sciences. Natural sciences is less difficult. That concept of force, resistance, acceleration in Russia, America, Europe, here, the same. You know, they have agreement among scholars. But when you saw in politics, in psychology, in sociology, different theories in different countries. The Russian, they have their own theory. American, they have their own. What about the Muslim? I'm waiting for you in Ibn Khaldun to develop this theory. Because you started at something to offer an alternative. Let us work, like in our university in Malaysia, IIUM. We are adopting this integration of knowledge approach to show to the world that we can offer something. And by doing so, we serve humanity, not only Muslims. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Allah sent the Prophet as a mercy to all mankind. So as I said, one of the area is he does not balance between individual life and society life. Only talk about the individual. Whereas we talk about individual, we talk about family. Family concept is very important. That's why there is a lot of attack against the Muslim families nowadays to break it. This is very dangerous. And the brothers and sisters in the sociology department has to work on that. So psychology, we have the individual, we have family, we have society, and we have humanity. Because we have to help everybody, regardless of their own culture or religion. This is the way as Muslim we have to serve humanity, to save humanity. In fact, the first 4 levels suggested by Maslow, it is the same for human beings and animals. Only self-actualization is different. And self-actualization, as I said, only looking for personal fulfillment. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored us as human beings. You cannot see the honoring concept in Maslow. We are Khalifatullah, the vicegerent on earth. We cannot see that. When we say Khalifa, it means the leader to serve society. This is hierarchy to serve the individual. So it's missing, this concept. The cream of Allah, honoring Allah, human beings, we cannot see. The role of human beings in life, in the collective life, we cannot see it. Again, as I said to Safa, brother, Dr. Safa, Maslow is a positivist. You know the philosophy of positivism? Positivism means that we want to deal with the social phenomena just like the natural phenomena. So we have to create universal laws. As we say, for instance, in cosmetic laws or in biological laws or physical laws in physics, in chemistry, also we want to have laws in sociology, psychology, and so on. And we say, yes, there are laws, but the only laws which can bring is from Quran Sunnah about human beings. What we do is relative, not objective. Your knowledge you get is relative, not objective. So we have to be humble scholars. We cannot have universal laws. We can have relative relationship between phenomena. So because he's a positivist and he's an atheist, of course, his hierarchy will reflect this: positivism and atheism, and secularism, of course, and materialistic perspective. In fact, he is reflecting on the capitalist society. And we cannot say there is a consensus agreement in the West among scholars about his hierarchy. And despite the fact that he moved and added new categories of human needs, but people, they are stuck to the old one. And different culture, different philosophy will have different categorization of needs. So there is, I would say, cultural bias by him, American bias. They want to generalize the American knowledge to everybody in the world. Just that's what they do in the political scene, they do on the academic scene. Because we don't focus on research. If we do focus on research, we can talk about this. But we lack research. We lack rigorous research. We lack academic research, which would bring us to the root of our culture. So as I said, there is no empirical evidence because he developed this hierarchy based on his observation, personal observation. And you cannot accept such kind of things and take it for granted when there is no evidence to support it. Yes, the need for food, the need of air, that's just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. We have common. But when you come at other levels, we have a problem. Like love and belongings, like the way he looked at it is different. Okay? Self-actualization is different, and so on. So it's culturally biased. And most of those who applied this hierarchy, mostly in business and marketing, when they talk about motivation of customers. So they said, look at the needs of customers so that they can buy your own product. So mostly focused by those people in capitalist society because they need more money. So they use, promotion and marketing to fulfill the needs of the customer to suck their money and to become more richer. It is not to help society, but to get richer and richer. That is the motivation of such kind of hierarchy. Now, that's enough. I hope by now you are convinced that Maslow should be replaced in our culture. If you are convinced by now, I'm ready to talk about the proposed model. If you are not, I'm going to stop. There is no need. So what do you think? Are you ready? You like to hear the alternative? Yes?
Yes, of course.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim again.
Okay. Yes, thank you, sir.
Now I'm going to start just now. So my lecture starts now because I said the proposed model from an Islamic perspective. So that was in food, they call it appetizer. So I have given you the appetizer to be ready to have the meal. Okay? First, I'm not giving this from my own thinking. I have based on maqasid. Have you heard of the word maqasid? مقاصد الشريعة is the higher goals of Islam. It is a science of its own called maqasid science. It's a discipline. It is a discipline, an area of knowledge called maqasid. Maqasid al-Sharia, the Islamic higher goals. What does that mean? It means that our Muslim scholars, through different centuries, they developed this theory of maqasid. It's a theory. How did they did it? They did induction. You know the induction, istiqra, induction. They developed the theory by induction. By induction, by looking at the specific ayat in the Quran and specific hadith and come up with the higher goals, with the theory of higher goals of Islam. These higher goals is applicable to all human beings, whether Muslim or non-Muslim. It is the aims or the goals of Allah for humanity. So it's the work of scholars. We cannot say this is Allah, because the Quran is Allah's word. But this word is the effort in investigating the ayah, conducting research by Shari'i people, scholars, to come up with the ultimate aims or goals or objectives of life from an Islamic perspective. Okay? Now, from my own point of view, since these are the aims or objectives of Islam, so they reflect the basic needs of human beings. That's my own ijtihad, my own way of thinking. Okay? What are these 5? They are, number 1, the 5 basic, there are 5 basic needs to be achieved are needs related to religion. So there is a need in all of us to refer to a superpower. Sometimes when you have problem, Ya Allah, only we remember Allah when we have problem. We want to remember Allah whether we have problem or to achieve aims. So there is an innate nature in ourselves to have a God. And that we were created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to worship him. So this is the basic need, which is a spiritual need. To have ilah, to have creator, to refer to him in everything. That's number 1. Of course, which is not there. Because how many people, when they refer to Allah, they feel very happy in life. So a source of happiness comes from fulfilling this, which is number 1. It's the dominant need, the most important needs, which affect the other needs of human beings. Once you start with believing in the unseen, believing in books, in angels, in qadar, in everything, and you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, salah, siyam, dhikr, hajj, and so on. So you fulfill the spiritual need first. You are not an animal. If you don't have a guidance, أولئك كالأنعام بل هم أضل. They are just like animals, even worse. If you don't fulfill this need, then you are an animal, because you are materialistic. You forget about the spiritual, materialistic, like the cow, like the goat. You need safety, you need food, you need to breathe, just like the cow. Do you want us to be cows? Come on. We have to use our mind. That's number 1. Number 2, life, nafs. A basic need also, nafs. We need healthy body. We need psychological well-being. So the physical and psychological, this is nafs. And this is one of the needs, which include in it food and drink, but there is more than that, not only physical entity, but also psychological entity. Okay? And nafs, you have the spirit or the soul, you have the body, the physical body, and you have the psychological being. And you need to fulfill all the needs. Spiritual, psychological, and physical. Number 3, family. Something related to the family. Protecting the family. Fulfilling the needs of a family. And the needs of the family is very comprehensive and integrated. They need everything. So we have to study the needs of the family. Family is not just husband and wife and children. It is social life, psychological life, physical life, the life in this dunya, life in the akhirah, a lot of things, safety, whatever, jobs, earnings, economic needs, and so on, within the family. It's an integrated entity. Then we have intellect. Intellect, we need the right education to develop the faculty of reasoning and thinking. We need training. We need innovation. We need creativity. We need to make the fruit of this mind beneficial to our societies. So we don't only look at the production of mind, but we have to put that kind of generated knowledge into the benefits of society. So that's a need again. Another need, economy. Well, how to manage well, how to develop the country economically, the family economically, the individual economically. That's another need. So that we have 5 areas, not needs, 5 areas, 5 blocks of needs. That's what our Muslim scholars have come up with, the areas or dimension of needs. They are religion, life, family, intellect, and economy. For individual and society. Individual, family, and society. And humanity. Now, with religious, it means the basic human need is need to refer to only superpower, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in our work. And as we know, religion plays great role in people's life. You know, still in one country, in a Muslim country, there was an earthquake. And when they interviewed people in the earthquake, say, Alhamdulillah, he used to say, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. He says, Subhanallah al-Azim. He will very calm, very relaxed. He's not that nervous. What brought that happiness? Tell me. Iman. Only Iman. You cannot explain it in other terms. So the more you have Iman, you get people happier. Happier. So we need to fulfill this Iman in our university, in our classes, in our books, in our library, in our family, in our society. We have to cultivate that Iman in every subject and every activity. Even when we play basketball, we cultivate Iman over there as well. How to help your brother if he fell down, and you know, this kind of motivation which comes from your Iman, we have to cultivate it everywhere. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Say, my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, my death is for Allah in every state. you are always with Allah. Very exciting and surprising for us. We have to be with Allah not only in the mosque, in the classroom, in the restaurant, everywhere, everywhere. You conceptualize that you are with Allah. When you feel that you are in Allah's hand, you feel very relaxed, very happy. So that's the need we have to fulfill. That Maslow does not work. We cannot talk about this. You can go and Google it. Ask Maslow, what do you think of religion? He will say rubbish. So the most important part, success in our life and happiness in our life, based on Allah's pleasure and full trust in Him. And that creates optimism, creativity, and cure all the wounds. I'm not saying physical wounds, but the emotional wounds, which one of you, I cannot remember, talked about. This can emotional wounds. We have to develop emotional theory from an Islamic perspective. How to manage emotion. And that's part of your psychology department work. So you have to heal and create optimism rather than frustration and stress. Then the life needs. There are needs related to physical and physiological needs, such as breathing, food, water, health, shelter, psychological and social support. So we have to also fulfill those needs. For instance, in our university, are we offering services of this type, physical? Maybe we give them health centers. Also, we have diets, advice and counseling. We might have psychological problems, counseling, and so on, to fulfill such kind of needs. So we need to improve our human life, health, at the level of the individual, family, and society as well. Then the family needs. It is a core concept in Islam, the family, a core concept. If we have the right family, we will have the right society. If we have Muslim family who are at peace and harmony, who fulfill their needs spiritually, physically, psychologically, and economically, then we'll have a very good society, very stable and peaceful, harmonious society. This is one of the great challenges for Muslim society today. Intellectual needs, I think I have talked about that, but we have to think that the only way to develop spiritually, to develop socially, to develop economically, we have to focus on education and training. Without education, educating the mind and the heart, we cannot have social, psychological, economic development. So the country which focus on bringing up good intellect and intellectuals, good thinkers, then we can guarantee the good future of the Ummah. Of course, in addition to, again, developing them spiritually and socially, economically, and intellectually. It's an integrated approach into the fulfillment of the needs of our own people. Also, our minds have to be protected from anything which harm it, whether drugs or alcohol or even bad misconception. Sometimes the social media and the channels, they are bombarding our people with the bad information, bad knowledge, bad, conception. As a result, they harm the thinking. So we have to protect also, we have to have a kind of protection and fulfillment for the needs of our intellect, in education, in protecting from haram things, or even bad thought, which affect their decisions. Because if they have bad thinking, they will have bad decisions, wrong decision. Economic needs, I think this is a very big area. It covers all agriculture, industry, business, banking, everything. So we have to do a lot of research in this area in order to develop according to the guidelines. As they said, Quran Sunnah give you only guidelines. 5% give you guidelines. 95% you have to do it by research. That's why Islam is flexible, because needs changing, keep on changing. The way your mother and your grandmother dress was different from the way you dress now. The way they are eating, you are different from the way you are eating. Things are changing. But the guidelines are the same, the 5%. 95% you have to work and use your intellect to fulfill your needs. And the good thing that Islam is comprehensive. So maqasid or needs should be comprehensive, cover the personality. This is the model I developed for not hierarchy. Yeah, you can see it. It's not hierarchy. It is in a circle which is interactive. What is the difference between Maslow and this? First, as you could see, that individual focused, but here individual, family on the right-hand side, society and humanity. So it's covered all the needs. That's the different one. Second, there are 5. You can see it. After this individual, family, society, and humanity, there is the 5 objective or higher goals or needs. Then these needs, in Islam, there are 3 different categories, priorities. Maslow did not do it, but in Islam we have it. You know what are they? Let us talk about the need, the economic need, for instance, the economic needs, okay, of society, of family, or individual. There are 3 categories, and the government or the university or the family should focus on this. In ranking, you start with the first one. In Islam, they call it daruriya, necessity. Maybe it's better to use survival needs. The economic, which is survive, make people survive only. For instance, what are the survival needs? Water, food. This is, we have, whether you are a guardian of a family, you have to work hard to provide the food, the clothing, and everything, the shelter and everything. So this is what? Survival need, necessity. Then another category called hajiyat. Hajiyat means important. Important needs which solve the problem or the challenging facing individual, family, society, and humanity. Give you an example. Maybe one of the important needs is to have internet access at home, for instance, or at the university, because it makes your life easy. It solves a lot of problems. So it becomes second in ranking after food and water. Now the third one. What is the third one? Third one is complementary. Okay? For instance, you need this flower everywhere around you. It's a need, but it is the third ranking. Okay? Decoration. Maybe you have this wall, you need to decorate in posters or drawing, whatever, you know, that's complementary. So it is Allah's grace and bounty that we can work in our plans, whether the university or the family or the society or whatever. Start with number one, needs. Second, third. Don't move to the third before the first and the second. This is the only hierarchy for every area. Okay? So you can see it here. This is the full, not hierarchy, but I said human needs model. Human needs model. Now, I'm not saying this, you have to accept. It's not, you know, revealed knowledge from Allah. No. It is my own understanding of what the scholar, Muslim scholars have said, and also in relation to my understanding of Muslim. I have come up with this. It needs criticism. Open for criticism. You can critique it, no problem. You can develop it, no problem. So long as you say, this is better because of this. That's all. We have to conduct research. Daniela, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Now, I have outlined very quickly. I've taken a lot of time. Wow, I have to stop. Very quickly, I'll go through the slides. First, it's based on Muslim scholars' understanding. Connect text to context, Quran to the life of people. Connect life in this dunya and the akhirah. It is more holistic. It is relevant to time and place because needs are changing. This is only areas. It has 3 priorities for everyone: survival needs, important needs, complementary needs. Also, this is only focusing on the constant areas of needs, not the specific needs. Specific needs need a lot of research. It is universal for all human beings because it is not mine. It's, you know, reflection or tadabbur of Quran and Sunnah. It balances between material and spiritual. It based on the concept of Islam about insan, life, knowledge, and philosophy. What motivates people, as Maslow said, not material only, also spiritual. So we added the motivation for the spiritual. Again, this needs is not only belong to psychology department or management department or sociology department or Islamic studies. They have to work together, interdisciplinary approach. So it is an interdisciplinary topic. It should be studied and investigated by all because it reflects the whole life, need for the whole life. It connects the heart, the soul, the mind, and behavior. It's a very balanced theory of human life. So it's a human model. It is implementable and realistic because Muslims have lived it through the centuries. Now, some of the recommendations, I think Muslim society's policies, development plans for the level of the government or any level, family, organization like a university, should use it to plan for themselves, to fulfill your beneficiaries I mean, like the students in the university or the staff in any organization or the citizen in the country. Also, we have to add the Islamic perspective when we teach this kind of needs. When you talk about needs and motivation, we have to talk about the Islamic concept of this. And we have to conduct more research. Maybe master, maybe PhD, maybe assignment for students. We have to encourage them at the level of the family or the society or organization. Thank you very much. جزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.